Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wondered if a computer could actually understand you well enough to judge if you'd be good at a job? In today's episode, we're diving into brand new research that asks just that. Imagine you've applied for a job, and instead of a human interviewer, you are answering questions in writing and a super smart AI is scoring your answers. Sounds a bit sci-fi, right? Well, it is happening now, and scientists are trying to figure out if these AI interviewers are actually any good. The big question is, can these automated written interviews really tell if someone has the skills they need, like being a good communicator or a great leader? This paper, titled "The Construct Validity of Automated Written Interview Competency Assessments," digs into whether these AI-powered interviews are measuring what they're supposed to measure. Basically, are they testing your actual skills or something else entirely? So, what did the researchers do? They had 117 people write their answers to 12 questions designed to measure 4 key skills: collaboration, communication, leadership, and critical thinking. They also asked one question that was completely unrelated to any specific skill, just to see how people generally responded. Then, a powerful AI, a large language model called GPT-40, scored all these written answers on an 11-point scale. Now, here is where it gets interesting. The scores the AI gave for all the questions, including that neutral one, were pretty similar to each other. This is a big clue. It suggests that maybe the AI wasn't just scoring the specific skills, but also the general ability of people to write a good, clear answer. This is what scientists call common method variance, or more simply, a kind of fluke or pattern that shows up across all the answers because of how they were collected or scored, not necessarily what they're measuring. To get a clearer picture of the actual skills, the researchers did something smart. They removed the scores for that neutral question from the scores of the skill. Based questions, it is like taking out the general writing ability factor to see the specific skill scores more clearly. After they did this, they found some really cool patterns. The AI scores, after accounting for that general writing tendency, started to break down into 3 main groups. Communication and leadership skills seem to be measured together by the AI. Forming one factor, collaboration was another distinct factor, and critical thinking was a third distinct factor. This told them that the AI was indeed picking up on different types of skills, though communication and leadership seem closely related in how the AI scored them. For example, the questions about leadership often required strong communication skills too, which makes sense. But it didn't stop there. The researchers also wanted to see if these AI-scored skills matched up with other personality traits and abilities we already know about. So they had the participants take personality tests, like the Big 5 inventory, and a verbal reasoning test. This is where they checked for convergent validity, meaning, do the scores from the AI interview align with other established measures of similar concepts? And guess what? They found some really neat connections. The communication leadership factor scored by the AI seemed to be linked to certain personality traits like open-mindedness, which makes sense because being open to new ideas and creative thinking often goes hand in hand with good communication and leadership. The collaboration factor, as you might expect, was linked to personality traits like conscientiousness, which is about being organized, dependable, and responsible when working with others. And the critical thinking factor, this was really interesting, was primarily associated with verbal reasoning ability. This is a strong sign that the AI was actually measuring critical thinking, because that skill heavily relies on how well someone can understand and process language. So, what does all this mean? The study suggests that AI can indeed be a useful tool for scoring written interview responses. They found that these automated written interviews can capture meaningful parts of specific behavioral skills. They even highlighted the importance of controlling for that general writing ability factor, which helped them see the skills more clearly. Without doing that, the scores might have been inflated by everyone just being a good writer, not necessarily by having the specific skills being tested. The researchers think we can trust these AI interview scores to some extent, as they seem to reflect actual competencies beyond just how well someone writes. It is a step forward in making hiring fairer and more efficient, using technology to get a better picture of a candidate's skills. Now, it is not perfect, and the researchers are quick to point that out. They mentioned that future studies should test this with video interviews too, and maybe even think about how these AI scores relate to actual job performance. That is the ultimate test. Right. They also suggest that using personality tests that are more directly related to work situations might show even stronger links. And a super important point they make is the need for more research using a multi-trait, multi-method approach. This basically means testing the same skill using different ways, like both AI interviews and maybe some real-life work simulation tasks, to really make sure we're measuring the right thing without the score being influenced too much by the way we measure it. In my opinion, this research is super exciting because it is at the cutting edge of how we might be evaluated for jobs in the future. The fact that they could tease out specific skills like critical thinking from general writing ability is a big win for AI in assessment. However, we do need to be cautious. As the study itself points out, there is a significant common method effect, meaning the AI might still be picking up on general response patterns more than specific, nuanced skills. This is why controlling for that neutral question was so crucial. For this to be truly fair, we need to make sure these AI systems are trained on diverse data to avoid any hidden biases, and that the scoring is as transparent and objective as possible. The fact that the AI can now generate rationales for its scores, as mentioned in the discussion, is a huge step towards transparency.